global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them. Crises precipitate change.
Secretly plotting your demise. I want to devise a virus.
Hello everyone, Darko2012 here with Global Government News. I'm reading an article from the Express, and this was from March 26, 2010. It's titled, New EU Gestapo Spies on Britons. It's not a long story. Millions of Britons face being snooped on by a new European intelligence agency which has been handed frightening powers to pry on our lives. And most Britons, people from England and that, UK, are already aware of what they call the Home Office and all the different security measures that are going on. I mean, they know about this already, and they know how bad it's getting. And it's getting like that here in the U.S., but they're just relentless, and they just keep going after our privacy. It says Europol, like Interpol, Europol can access personal information on anyone, including their political opinions and sexual preferences, if it suspects, rightly or wrongly, that they may be involved in a preparatory act, which could lead to criminal activity. And that kind of gets into the realm of pre-crime, right? You get charged for a crime you haven't even committed yet. The vagueness of the Hague-based forces remit sparked furious protests yesterday, with critics warning that the EU snoopers threaten our right to free speech. Says it is understood that the agency will concentrate on anyone thought, quote, xenophobic or likely to commit a crime involving the environment, computers, or motor vehicles. This could include covert monitoring of people who deny the existence of climate change or speak out on controversial issues. Now that's scary stuff, because I was just wondering what this environment part, if they actually meant like the environment, or, you know, like the internet environment. What are they talking about here? And then it just says the existence of climate change. So yeah, it's like you're a Holocaust denier, you know. If you don't believe in the fraudulent theory of man-made global warming, then you're a denier, or just speak out on controversial issues. Paul Natal, chairman of the UK Independence Party, said, "I am horrified. We thought Gordon Brown's Big Brother state was bad enough, but at least we're going to kick him out in May." Then it says, "These guys we cannot sack until we leave the EU." James Welch, legal director of campaign group Liberty, said, "We have huge concerns that Europol appears to have been given powers to hold very sensitive information and to investigate matters that aren't even crimes in this country. Any extension of police powers at any level needs to be properly debated and scrutinized." Well, here in the U.S., they just say that it's being debated, and they have our phony left-right Republican Democrat parties go in session, and they act like they're debating, and they're not really debating. They're just kind of deciding how much they're going to rob the American people, right? Whether it's financial or political, you know, liberties. It's not a matter of are they going to do it. It's just a matter of how much they're going to take from you. So, until January 1st, Europol was a police office funded by various states to help tackle international organized crime, but has been reborn as the official criminal intelligence gathering arm of the EU, and Brussels has vastly increased its powers. It can now target more than simply organized crime, and the burden of proof required to begin monitoring an individual has been downgraded. It goes on and says Europol will be centrally funded. Campaigners last night expressed concern over the vague list of, quote, serious crimes, unquote, which the agency can help investigate, which include racism, xenophobia, environmental crime, and corruption. Among personal details that can be gathered and stored are behavioral data, including lifestyle and routine movements, places frequented, tax position, and profiles of DNA and voice. Wow. Is that like with Google's digital voice? I wonder if it's something similar to that. You know, with the DNA, we definitely have DNA storage in the databases for American citizens, American babies that are born here. It is put into a database. It was written into law just about 3 years ago. So, but most Americans aren't even aware of that until they're approached by the doctors saying, "Oh, you should do this. You know, your child is vulnerable to this type of disease." And be like, "Well, how did you know that? You know, how did you know that?" And they'll be like, "Oh, well, you know, we have your baby's DNA stored in a database, and we just thought it would be good to be proactive about it." And so, yeah, most people aren't even aware that they're storing your DNA now. And I mean, this is just crazy. Your position on how much you want to have your money and your wealth stolen from you, the tax position, where you've went. But I already know that they do that. I already know that all the places you visited, you know, they check your plane tickets and everything else. So, what it says, and then it goes on and it says, where relevant, Europol will also be able to keep data on a person's political opinions, religious or philosophical beliefs, or trade union membership, and data concerning health or sex life. So, I mean, this is just pure tyranny. This isn't even, I mean, this is just disgusting. When you think about it, like political opinions, there's really no room to dissent. I mean, that is just pure tyranny when you can't even voice your opinion anymore. But it's almost like we're so far gone now that it's almost like it's too late. I mean, I don't want to say that or give the impression that it is too late. I'm just saying that it's almost like it's too late. These guys are just going crazy. I mean, hopefully enough people will wake up to this and what's going on, and just basically, we don't have to have some bloody revolution. We just have to wake the hell up and quit being naive. Because this isn't about our security. This isn't about fighting terrorism. It's about fighting, though I call it the war on, you know, sovereignty of the individual. That's what it is. And they do want to control every facet of our lives. So, yeah, so check this out. It says there's a real danger that opposition to European Union policies could make an individual liable to arrest. And an example that they used was, what if, for example, Brussels adopts a hardline stance on climate change? It's conceivable that someone who broadcasts their skepticism on climate change may be accused of committing an environmental crime because they have undermined the EU's efforts to save mankind. I mean, wow. Timothy Kirkhope, conservative leader in the European Parliament, said Europol's new mandate has significantly expanded its powers. There is a real chance that the vague mandate will enable it to gradually extend its areas of intervention even further. The Home Office insisted the changes were in Britain's interests, right? It's all in the Britain's interests. It says a spokesman said Europol is now in a much stronger position to better support our fight against serious and organized crime and terrorism, right? So it's all in Britain's interest. It's like it's, you know, when we allow drone attacks to just start bombing villages and homes in Pakistan and other countries, it's all in America's interest, right? But it's not. It's not in the common man or woman's interest. It's not at all. Our interests are totally different from the fascist assholes that are taking our money, stealing it from us via tax, and then saying, well, if you don't, well, then we'll just throw you in jail for tax evasion. And so you're going to support our wars. You're going to support our murdering. You're going to support our expanding of not really America's empire, because our government's been hijacked and our government's been taken over a long time ago, and much as Britain has, much as China has. And so these are just corporations. That's all we are. We're just big corporations. It appears to have, you know, we have our sovereignty. We have our own little green dollar, but that's a Federal Reserve note. That's not the U.S. It's a Federal Reserve central bank. It's a cartel, and along with them, the intelligence agencies, the bankers, and them, they run the shit. And it's not in our interest. It's in those assholes' interest. So whenever you hear that, it's in Britain's interest. It's in America's interest. Just remember whose interest they're talking about. They're talking about the elites, the global elites. That's who they are. I mean, it sounds so, it's getting almost cliche-ish now, but that's kind of good, right? Because that means that people are waking up to that term. But they're international fascist pigs. Thank you.